Hi, this is Richard C. I'm a math tutor here at Wyzant, answering a question submitted by a student. Um, this is basically, they're talking about vectors. It's basically kind of a geometry problem as well, sort of a combination of geometry and vectors, which you see in pre-calc. The student's a little confused about what to do here, and I think it's pretty straightforward, but let's take a look. So we have a line segment AB, and we'll denote that with these little dots at the end. It's fixed length. And this would be point A, and this would be point B. And M is the midpoint, so we can put an M here. And we can mark these two as congruent line segments. Okay, so let's talk about AM and AB and so on. The magnitude of AM, if we're going to think in terms of vectors, well, let's do it in two different ways. If we think of AM in terms of geometry, so I'll stay with black for the geometry, we would say that AM is just just 1/2 AB. So that's how AM and AB are related if we're talking about line segments. The distance from A to M is 1/2 the distance from A to B. If we were talking in terms of vectors, you would have to write something like the magnitude of AM with a vector over it, vector symbol, is equal to 1/2 vector AB. So if you're studying vectors and you're comfortable with these magnitude symbols and vector symbols, that's the way you would do it. Okay, the next one is MB, and you could just say that AM, the magnitude of AM is the same as the magnitude of MB. In the world of vectors, we would do something similar to what we did a minute ago. So magnitude of vector AM is equal to the magnitude of vector MB. If you wanted to use vector notation, that's what you would use. And then the last one is BM. And we would just say that the magnitude of BM is equal to the magnitude of AM. Just keeping this, let me just keep it consistent here. A little cleaner. So AM, that distance from A to M is the same as the distance from B to M. And going to vector notation, you would just write the magnitude of AM is equal to the magnitude of BM. And just to finish off the vectors, because vector has a vector is defined by its magnitude and direction, and the direction of BM and MB are just 180 degrees opposite. So they're opposite directions, but the magnitudes are the same. The magnitude and the direction of AM is moving it's in the same direction as AB, and AM is the same direction as MB. but from A to M is moving left to right, whereas from B to M is moving right to left. And so the direction of the vector is different. So A to M could be 0 degrees, and B to M would be 180 degrees if you were working in the world of vectors. But their magnitudes would be the same. So hopefully this clears it up. I can understand if you're a geometry student and you get a question suddenly about vectors, this might be a little confusing, and vice versa. If you're a pre-calculus student, you might forget some of the basics that you learned in geometry a couple years previously. So I hope this clears it up, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.